He raps. He's a rapper.
Poetry. Spoken.
The picture of motherhood. God takes two fingers, dips them in the rainbow, and paints them through various generations to represent himself. When he created the earth, he placed Eve in it because the earth needed mothering. The earth needed nurturing. The earth needed someone to take care of it and allow it to become what it was supposed to be. The picture of motherhood. God takes two fingers, dips it into a rainbow, and paints it over various generations. He paints over hardships and trials. He paints over relational confrontation. Sorry, lost the word there. He paints over relational confrontation. He paints over conflict. He paints over pains. He paints over bad childhood. He paints over abuse. He paints over mental misunderstanding. He paints over everything that is not the color that he wants it to be. He paints himself back into the frame of the picture that Satan stole when he led Eve into temptation. The picture of motherhood. God takes two fingers, dips into a rainbow, and paints it over the generations. Some people look at moms and want to count them out because the lines start to get a little watery and they start to run along the edges and they start to fade as time goes on. And when people see the picture that God painted of motherhood, they want to cast it off. They want to say it's not worth anything. They want to say anybody could be a mother. They want to say being a mother is not difficult. But they don't understand that when God takes something to its furthest completion, there comes a point where someone has to count it out so that image can die. And you bring in resurrection consciousness and you have a new image of a mother in your mind. The image of motherhood. God takes two fingers, sticks it in the rainbow, and paints it across the generations. So now there's the turning point for the grandmothers, for the middle-aged mothers, for the young mothers who are not in this room. There's the turning point. And at that turning point, the world recognizes what motherhood actually is. It's the point where the woman is no longer redeemed through childbirth, but she's redeemed because of her Savior's worth within her. And so the purpose of her motherhood is to let the light of Jesus out. She's no longer behind trying to catch up. She's right at the front, standing right next to Adam, where God intended Eve to be in the first place.
Wow.
Picture of motherhood. God takes two fingers, sticks it in the rainbow, and paints it across the generations. He starts with Eve, got to Jesus, and smiled. He was happy with motherhood. And he takes those two fingers and paints it from Jesus to eternity because he wants the image of himself. He split himself into two, the man, the woman, the male, and the female. He wants the image of himself to be reconciled so that there's no longer the split in between. There's no longer divide. So he multiplies his love and he multiplies his grace. And as he paints the canvas of his face across generation from the cross into eternity, he smiles because he looks at the woman and he sees himself. He looks at the woman and he sees Adam. It's nothing yin and yang with a little bit and a little bit in the separation. It's now one circle, the black and the white equally mixed. So he looks at the woman, he looks at the picture of motherhood, and all he sees is Jesus. Picture of motherhood. He takes two fingers, sticks in the rainbow, and paints it across the generations. It's a timeless concept that can never wear out because God can never wear out. Motherhood is Godhood. It's the same thing. The picture of motherhood. God takes two fingers, sticks in the rainbow, and paints his promise of his everlasting life.